Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Monday morning. It is the 20th day of January, 2025. This is the morning briefing coming to you from the home weather office. And I'll just give you a note off the top here. Don't be seeing my face. If you did right now, I'm not going to be on camera for a little while. Right now, I'm a walking advertisement for use sunscreen and see your dermatologist. This is the way it looks across California this morning. We have clear skies throughout the area, a little low down in here that is going to be impacting California with another round of winds in Southern California. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about today is the winds in Southern California, as well as a snowstorm for areas that don't often see snow. But as you can see for Northern California, nothing going on. It is going to be another dry day. Boy, we've had day after day of daytime highs in the 60s in the Central Valley. Although the mornings have been chilly down in the 30s, and I do expect that this is going to continue for a while. Right now, don't see anything in the way of rain coming to Northern California through this week and maybe all the way through next week. But yeah, clear skies throughout. So let's take a look at the big picture, the 500 millibar chart. And so here's that low that I mentioned and I showed you on the satellite. And then here is the big ridge, and we have that north flow that will give more offshore flow later on today and during the day tomorrow in Southern California. The big ridge starts to just kind of nudge a little bit to the east while we have this cold air driving through the eastern half of the country, and that's going to be the big story throughout the week. That cold air has already been driven all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and this is where we're going to be seeing some snow, and I'll show you more on that here in a minute. But for the West Coast, boy, just nothing going on in terms of something that would bring us anything in the way of rain. Little trough here as we head into, what time is this? This is Sunday. You know, the models had been hinting at maybe bringing us some sprinkles over the course of this weekend, but the models are generally dry with this, not enough water in the atmosphere to bring us anything that would just reinforce the cool air, maybe bring us a few clouds, but that's about it. But then the air in the eastern part of the country would be modifying so that while we'll be talking about cold air being driven all the way down to the Gulf Coast over the next few days, that will get modified as we finally get a trough in the west. But again, that's not going to be enough to bring us anything in the way of rain, and we'll get right back to the ridging pattern, trough off the coast, and then more cool weather for the Great Lakes. So yeah, this pattern for Northern California especially looks quite dry. So let's focus on the winds in Southern California. More red flag warnings for Southern California, shifting location a little bit. I'm going to show you the HRRR, and this is this morning. The winds will be going offshore. I know you can't, it's tough to see these wind arrows, but the winds will be going in this direction. And as we go through the afternoon, there's some winds here in Ventura County and LA County, but it is going to be areas a little bit farther to the south that'll be impacted as we head through tonight and tomorrow. Look at these winds. As I scroll over this, 80 knot winds up on the ridge tops, and there'll be some downslope component to that as well, bringing some of that higher wind into San Diego County, as well as a little bit farther to the north. Again, look at some of these ridgetop winds, gusting around 70 knots or so. And while this doesn't look quite as bad as what we saw when the big fires started, this isn't that much different, but it's still going to be a little bit different. And it doesn't look as though this will have any impact on the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire. Those fires are basically out, although they're not 100% contained, as we discussed last week. So what you're hoping for here is no new fire starts because you have low humidity, you have these offshore winds, as you can kind of see here. So you have the highest wind gusts up on the ridge tops, and then there are these flows that come down that get channeled through some of the canyons. This is into very early Tuesday morning. You'll again notice these high winds in the higher country of San Diego County. And yeah, right here, this is Tuesday around midday. Look at that, San Diego County especially, really getting hammered with wind. And then as we head into Tuesday night and Wednesday, all of that goes away. So it's not just the fire danger, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago when we saw the big winds a little bit farther to the north. Of course, it was the fire damage that did make all the headlines, but this also has the possibility of bringing damaging winds. I mean, if you have winds gusting 60, 70 knots, you're going to likely have some damage. So it's It's also dry. We haven't seen any rain down here, and really don't have any rain in the forecast for this area. So let's take a look across the rest of the country, and this is a snapshot of tomorrow morning. And obviously, this kind of grabs your eye. This is temperatures around minus 12, minus 14. Let's go down to these areas that are usually relatively warm. You'll see this is temperatures down around 29, 30, 32 along the Gulf Coast. Yeah, that's not normal. And so when you combine that with a little low developing here, what you'll see is snow developing along the Gulf Coast. I'll show you that in more detail here in a second. But that does translate into more snow into areas like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and rain in Florida. But then after that, the country goes dry, and California, of course, stays dry as well. So let's take a closer look at this. I'll take a look at that with the HRRR this morning. And this is just fascinating. This is tonight, just after sunset. And as we head into the day tomorrow, look at where we're seeing snow. Snow into southern Louisiana. Snow down to the Gulf Coast. They're expecting snow in Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, look at that. That's impressive. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that in the Sierra for the last couple of weeks. But here instead, in places like New Orleans, places like Mobile, it's not unprecedented, but it doesn't happen very often. This is going to likely be compared to a big storm we had back in 1993 that coated a lot of the South with snow, and it was a biggie back in 93. But this is bringing snow even to the panhandle of Florida. Areas like Pensacola could see some snow into central Georgia. This is pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and take a look at this model and see what they say for total snow accumulation. Look at this. I mean, this is probably a little bit overdone. This is, just the model data. They're saying 10 inches of snow on the Florida Panhandle, 4 to 8. But actually, this is from the New Orleans Weather Service office. They're expecting 4 to 6 inches of snow. But that's impressive. And their general forecast for areas from New Orleans up a few, 50 miles north is 4 to 6 inches of snow across a large portion of the area. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, a winter storm warning in Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and Alabama. And not for the Sierra. Sad to see for us. So yeah, we do have more dry weather heading our way. That's everything I've got for you this morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.